Hey Homeworthy, I'm Kitty Rheault. Welcome to my apartment in Los Feliz. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Kitty Rheault. I'm an interior designer and prop stylist. Welcome to my apartment in Los Feliz. It's a really quaint, cute little town, very walkable in Los Angeles, California. When we first moved into this apartment, we actually found it from across the street. We lived diagonally outside our current kitchen window, and we were looking for a change, and the grass was greener on the other side. We found this place from a little sign on the front lawn and came in, saw the crown molding, and it totally sold us. We have a 1950s two-bedroom apartment. We have a lot of details in the apartment original to the 50s. So we have the linear crown molding in the living room, and we have a bit of a landlord special / updated kitchen. And then we have original tile from the 1950s in our bathroom. My personal opinion, the best color scheme in the entire building. My husband and I have lived here for about 5 years now. My husband and I sold pretty much everything we owned from our last apartment. We kept a couple staple pieces, but we were ready to move on to more of a passion project of an apartment. We gathered more pieces over time when we moved in here. Lots of flea markets, lots of vintage finds, things off Etsy, things off Marketplace. Really took our time to get it to where it is today, but it's a pretty consistent, evolving process in this house. Welcome to my living room. We really wanted to focus on having enough seating for our friends. We host a lot of dinner parties, have people over, the pop-in moments. Didn't all want to be crammed on the sofa together. It gets a little too intimate in those moments. So when my husband told me that he was going to be heading from Connecticut back to the West Coast with a band he was touring with, they had some extra room in their trailer attached to the truck. So I immediately called my mom and my sister, and we are lucky enough to still have my grandmother's house in our family. And there are a few pieces in there that I've just been dying to have. So we got these Danish Wagner chairs. We have 4 of them, but can only fit 2 at the moment. But we've really made the moment count, and I pretty much have every day's morning coffee in this space. Our wonderful pillows were sourced from my mom, actually. She is a frequenter of the Brimfield Flea Market in Massachusetts, which we usually try to get home to jump on, but we didn't make it this year. But so she got a bunch of these pillows for me. I just kind of gave her our style, our colorway, and she picked out a few things, and they've kind of ebbed and flowed throughout the house in different ways. My prized possession in the current moment is this planter that I actually just put together by gluing 2 bowls from Daiso and then sourcing a little plant to put into it. I had seen these on Pinterest, and they were about $2,200 for each piece. And so I was ready to make it happen for myself. Our son, Dustin, this is our glorious tree named after the gentleman who grew him in Venice, California. This is the one plant that somehow has made it through our entire marriage and has not died or even gotten sick, knock on wood. These incredible lockers, I say incredible because they're from IKEA and they're the thing I keep trying to get rid of, but we have really struggled to let go because they just serve so many purposes. To give the lockers a new life, I went on Etsy and found these cool tassels to put on the little keys. We have since lost one of them, but we've made it work. Luckily, they're all the same lock. Our belongings on it kind of ebb and flow again, depending on what we come home with at different times in our travels. But right now we have part of our book collection, this vase that I got stuck with from a job, a nice Amazon special that they didn't make me return. And I thought, how do I make a sad beige vase look a little bit more like us? And so I actually just took out my acrylic paints and gave it a little come up. So the pattern is a Kitty original. Fresh flowers always. We have to have fresh flowers. If I'm headed to the flower market for a job, I always try to throw in a couple extra bushels to bring home for myself. Otherwise, even just the grocery store or when we go to the farmer's market, little bouquets always come into the house with us. These incredible candlesticks are vintage. I actually ordered them from a vendor also on Etsy who is in upstate New York. And I found them for, I think like $20, but they're so cool. And they have these really cool gemstones on them. And kind of always look a little bit different depending on which way the little spiral is turning. And I'll change out the color of the candle again, depending on what's going on in the house. The bar car is kind of a evolution of love. We really just don't have cabinet space to put our bar items, but we've now expanded and brought in the cookbooks because you can't have enough of those. And another thing I think is so important is having a good scent throughout the house. So I do always have some incense or a candle, something just kind of burning in the house to kind of set the mood. And this particular location just tends to kind of go throughout the whole house. Right now, my husband and I are on a martini kick. So our neighbors have been coming over and we're actually doing olive exchanges now. So we will each kind of whatever we have on hand at home, we'll bring to each other's apartments and kind of try out the cocktail using each other's brine and each other's olives and kind of see who's got the better one. And weirdly enough, through all the fancy olives that we've used, the grocery store ones seem to be the best at this point. This sofa has been reborn about 4 times for us now. It's the IKEA Soderham sofa, and we actually found it on Marketplace or Craigslist, like one of those things, at a house in Santa Monica. We rented a U-Haul, went and picked it up, and got new covers, cleaned it, and now we've got these semi-custom covers on it that add a little more excitement to it. We've moved on from the IKEA originals, although they're great too. We have had new cushions made. We love the size of this and how it fits in the space and the lowness to the ground, which is like a weird thing, but it's just so comfortable. The art behind me here is actually a signed lithograph that I found on Facebook Marketplace before it was cool. I went to a house with a friend in the hills of Glendale before I knew where that was and got it for about $30 with a broken frame. There's a little bit of water damage actually on the bottom, but when I took it to get framed, the framer helped me mat it and cover it, and it's numbered as well. So there's actually only about 50 of these, and it's my prized possession. And earlier in the year when we were a little bit nervous about what was going on in the state of California, this was one of the first things that I took off the wall and threw in the car just in case something happened. Our coffee table was pulled off the floor at a local shop, and I somehow miraculously got it into the back of my vehicle all by myself, and then also up a couple stairs into this apartment all by myself. And I'm still a little unclear on how that happened, but it was a nice surprise when my husband came home. And as much as we love to have a sit-down dinner when it's just the two of us, we're typically sitting on the sofa, enjoying our meal, watching a Gordon Ramsay show or Jeopardy. We have our kind of quick grabs on this table. So we've got like our favorite coffee table books, a really good candle all the time, our really sweet little coasters, because I'm a cat lady through and through, and now have taken my husband to the dark side. And then we've got our matches for said candle, and again, always fresh flowers, just a little pick-me-up to brighten up the mood. The rug was a really fun way for us to add some more color into the apartment. So when we initially moved in here, I was in a bit of a sad beige era, and in what I think was the best interpretation of it. But I've now evolved to want more color, brightness, happiness in our home. Also, a white rug just really doesn't do it for us in the room that we have to walk through to get anywhere else in this apartment. This bookshelf is for sure my prized possession. We keep our wonderful spotlight kind of pointed in that direction. We have collected so many wonderful things, and this particular piece really allows us to kind of show it off in an organized way. If you're familiar with the original IKEA piece, this is it. We did actually find this on Craigslist, I think, for about $50 like 5 years ago. And it has since become a retirement plan because I haven't seen any listed on there for less than $400. And the reincarnation is just not as good. But my husband put a fresh coat of paint on the shelves, and it's really worked out for us over the years, and again has gone through many iterations, but it's a great house for our record player, which we love to throw a record on the weekends, light the candle, make the coffee, have the breakfast, and just kind of vibe. We have a couple collections as part of this. So again, more art books. Can't have enough references for interior design work or even just vibes for our own place. When we can't travel, I feel like the books are it, right? This rock I actually found at a beach in Santa Barbara, and it was just too good to leave behind. So we gave it a good wash, and now it's a great bookend for us. We've got our trusty match collection. What's an LA apartment without a match collection? We've got matches from friends' weddings, matches from various restaurants, bars, and actually some of them are some that I inherited from a staging job I did a few years ago. An elderly woman who was moving into a new home, she had a whole collection of all kinds of restaurants, a few of which are still in existence. So it was really special to add to the pile. My second prized possession is my Gustav Westman spiral. I waited in line for probably 2.5 hours for this. And, 12 years into Los Angeles living, I'm really not a line waiter anymore, but I just had to. It's actually a record holder or magazine holder, so it does serve some purposes. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit them in here, so it's just sculpture in this moment. But our record collection is something that's also constantly evolving, and we kind of keep all the favorites nearby so that we can just grab them, throw them on the record player, and just hang out. So now we're in our dining room, which is really just a casual square. This area holds all our friends, and I swear we have more than 4. But we purchased these chairs when we moved in, went a little brighter in our kitchen, and I just recently had a little tickle of an idea. And so I went to my dear guy downtown in the Fabric District, picked out some really cool Ralph Lauren dead stock denim fabric, and then got this chartreuse linen and had the chairs reupholstered. So they've been reborn. And our cat really loves denim. She doesn't scratch them, which is great. She just rubs her sweet little body on them. So it's actually been, it's made for some really great photo moments with the cat, and also very comfortable and new foam. So many more dinner parties to come. Our kitchen table is from Anthropologie. It's really just like a really cool travertine top. Love a stone moment, and I feel like it pairs really nicely with all of our dinnerware and vases and extra little things. We've actually been hosting some color themed dinner parties with friends, and we'll just throw a color appropriate tablecloth down, some good flowers, some fun plates and napkins, and we're good to go. One of the first things that we did when we moved into the apartment was replace the lighting. I think that's like a really easy renter-friendly hack. We found this particular light on CB2, and it's a remake of a vintage inspired light. But we had this installed, and I feel like it really changed the entire course of this like kitchen dining moment for us. Drapery is another thing that's really renter friendly and an easy way to kind of elevate your space with something that you can potentially take with you. So I also used a semi-custom vendor to have these striped drapes made, and you know, we're the house of 1,000 stripes. I've never met a stripe I didn't like, and it's becoming a bit of an issue. So we will perhaps move on to a different fabric at some point in time. But right now, we're all about the stripe, as you will see as we move to different rooms in here. But these were just cut to order. So they're pretty reasonably priced, and they'll definitely fit a couple different windows in this space if we wanted to change the patterns around, and hopefully we'll work in another spot in the future. This piece of art is very near and dear to my heart and has caused a little bit of drama in my life. I found this piece at the Rose Bowl flea market with a girlfriend of mine who got one by the same artist. What's really cool about it is that the guys who were selling it, they found this incredible pile of art at an estate sale in Encino in the Valley. And none of the pieces are signed, and they had no idea whose home it was. So we actually still don't know who made these, but there were at least 150 the day that I was there, and apparently there were more, but they were all different. I, of course, found the one with the gray cat, and so much to the disappointment of the professional framer, but the relief of my in-laws, this is not in fact me, but it does resemble. Our chrome vase was sourced simply online, but I have a real soft spot for chrome. If it's not stripe, it's chrome. And again, fresh flowers, I think, just totally changed the space. These I went down to the flower market for. I love starting my day down there. It just smells so good, and there's so much inspiration and color stories. And even if you're not buying flowers, it's just an incredible space to see textures and movement and natural kind of grounding. I'm not much of a hiker, so going to the flower mart is grounding for me. Weirdly enough, the favorite thing about our home is that it's in the front of our building. We get incredible sunlight coming in the morning, and a bit of the sunset and the pink skies in the evening. We have a small balcony off the kitchen and our bedroom, so it really kind of shines in those morning and evening moments. And I'm a little nosy, so I love knowing what's going on in the neighborhood, and I feel like being at the front, we just know every dog's bark, we know the sound of every car alarm, every single little quirk of the neighborhood, and especially after being here for so long, a sound happens, and my husband, who kind of travels a lot, will be like, "How do you know what that is?" Now we're in the kitchen, which is just a pebble's throw from the dining area. Really, she's a hardworking girl in here. She's a hardworking girl. I can't say too much more, but we've had so many dinner parties and dinner prep in here, and somehow it always works, despite limited counter space, limited storage, renter, oven, all the landlord special happens right here in this space, but we've made the best of it. And my favorite part is our little windowsill here. This is where we're lucky enough to grow our own basil, which again, somehow haven't hurt yet. And we see our old apartment out through here. So we get to say hello. We get to be reminded of where we came from, our roots, while we're working hard to have the good life now across the street where the grass is greener. My best case of advice for when you're feeling a little bit limited in what you can do in your space, if you're renting, or just in a space that's a little bit more temporary, it's all about the accessories and paint, which we have not done in here recently, but there have been a few iterations of paint in the little dining nook. But we really focused on art in here. So something we didn't want to do with paint was create a bigger issue on the cabinets that are probably 25 coats deep. So this piece is one of my favorite pieces that I found, showed some restraint on, didn't get, and then couldn't stop thinking about tomatoes and wine. So I zoomed back to the shop. That rest in peace is no longer, she's changed hands, but it was hanging in the back corner in the deep, dark, beautiful attic area. So I snatched that right up, and now it's perfect over our oven. We've got a few more collected pieces of art in here. This I purchased on a day spent with my sister at a museum in Beverly Hills. Just kind of made me laugh with all the online ordering I do for work and for life. It's just a reminder that I don't need it all. And then, another little trick is just framing little pieces that you see in a magazine or a catalog or just a postcard, anything like that. This was just a scene that I really loved and felt like the colorway worked, the composition was like inspiring to me. So I just threw it in a frame, and now it's in our kitchen, and it's been here for a few years. My design style is pretty refined, eclectic, I like to say. I'm really inspired by sculpture and art. A lot of the Bauhaus era and like French apartmento kind of style. As I've seen that evolve through social media and Pinterest and we have so much more access to seeing these examples, and it's been kind of recreated many times. So I really try my best to kind of put my own spin on these things, and while I'm taking interpretation from so many different styles and other places I've been or artists I follow, really kind of like reinterpreting it to be our own style and how we live in our space, and the like softness or hardness of items that we need to feel comfortable in our area. And that brings us into the bedroom. We've had some journeys in here stylistically. We just recently painted the walls back to kind of like a creamy, chalky white from the pink that you'll see on the ceiling. The pink is Faro and Ball Dead Salmon, which I just had to have mostly because of the name. But we're on a color journey in this room, and I'm just gonna tell you now, it's gonna change. It's not gonna be white for long, but we are enjoying the peacefulness, and once we put it over the pink, it actually kind of made this like warmer tone than what we were expecting, which has been really nice, and I feel like kind of reflects the ceiling a bit. The bedding is striped. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Again, really working with what we've got. We are in the market for a new bed frame, a king size bed. This is another IKEA special, but we have made it into a different thing. I had a lot of extra fabric from our dining chairs, so I thought where better to bring in the stripe than the bedroom where we're having a full stripe attack. So I brought that into here and just draped a piece of the fabric over the back, and the bed has been reborn once again. It's new and improved. This gorgeous pillow, one of my favorites. This was actually custom made. Another thing that I found, some fabric downtown, fell in love with it and brought it to my dear friend Ernie, and he came up with this incredible pillow for me. So it's a really nice kind of neck support. The cat loves to kind of lean her little body up against it, and it's just an extra fun thing. This piece of art here was emergency sent to me by my sister just recently, who was trying to steal it out from under me. But it's actually my favorite color, chartreuse green, yellow. It was painted by my grandmother, my mom's mom. So artisans, it's running, the creativity is running in the family. I love this piece so much, and it brings a little bit, for being so inspired by sculpture and like harder finishes, it brings something a little bit softer into a space where we're really like kind of coming down at the end of the day. These lamps are another favorite of mine, another marketplace, Craigslist, one of those situations. I just recently painted them this blue color from some samples I had left over. But I bought these, I got new shades, I ordered these finials from an artisan on Etsy, and just kind of brought that like 80s style back to life in a 2025 way. This is kind of my personal favorite moment right now in our home. I've got this incredible little tiny but mighty piece of art by one of my favorite local artists, Kitty Rheault. She's out of Pasadena. I use her for a lot of projects with my clients, and she makes these incredible pieces and really communicates well with the client to kind of get their energy. And I actually had purchased this for a job that it didn't work out, and I feel blessed that it has worked out in my space. This chair is a new addition. Bought it about a week ago at a wild yard sale where an entire neighborhood actually brought out all of these things, mid-city LA, and there were probably 25 houses selling things at this yard sale. So I went early, I brought my Venmo ready to go, and got this really, really cool vintage inspired chair. Not really for sitting, we'll say that, but it's gonna be good when we get the next stack of books in the house because I can't stop. And for now, it's just kind of an aesthetic moment in the corner. Love having the freshness. Our cat nibbles on all the flowers. So the bedroom, she tends to spend a little more time in when she's sleeping her 23, 24 hours a day. So we went dry in here, but still live at one point. And my third favorite piece of art, it's hard, I keep saying they're all my favorite, but this is another favorite. And this I actually purchased at the mid-century modern sale at Modernica recently. And my biggest regret with this piece, and I think about it every day, is that there were two and I did not buy the second piece. The lighting in here is a fairly new addition to the room, but we really wanted to get rid of that classic apartment boob light situation. So we brought in, again, some like curvier shape, that softer kind of tone. And although we're not big fans of overhead light in general, sometimes you need it when you're packing a suitcase, when you're getting ready in the morning for your big work day ahead, sometimes you just need that task lighting. So ultimately, we're calling it the interview light because it really does feel like you're under the wire in this moment. But I will say our gorgeous cat, who is too shy to show her face in this moment, she lays right here and she looks just an incredible glistening gray in the spotlight. So we're really happy with the addition, and I do think it kind of makes the room feel a little bit more complete as well. Come take a shower with me. Just kidding, this is storage. So we actually keep our crazy big fan, our silly things back behind this curtain here. Fools everybody. My husband made us this really cool little bath shelf, which we keep our extras on. So it's like a nice, easy grab when you're blessed with this absolutely awful one drawer storage situation in an apartment. But joke is on you because the shower is actually just in front of us here, and it's tucked away inside like a typical 1950s bathroom would be. Separate tub, separate shower. So this tile in here is actually all original. It's in pretty good shape. There's a couple chips, a couple little divots in the tile, but it has really lasted. And we've now that we've made friends with our other neighbors, no offense to anybody who's might be watching this, but I do feel like we might have the best color combination. There is a pink and maroon floating around that I wouldn't mind either. But this has been something that we actually feel really thankful to have because we love the quirks and kind of like old energy of the original buildings. So this piece here is actually a Picasso-inspired portrait that my mom did years ago when our town did a like scarecrow themed Main Street. So everybody, businesses, local artists, people, you've heard of the painted cow situation perhaps, but this was a scarecrow situation. So there is a nice big hole on his neck here, not a sign of violence, but in fact where his head was connected to his little straw body. Leaning into what you've got is the moral of the story. We really embrace the fact that there are some quirks and wild things in this apartment that we are ultimately going to have to deal with until we don't live here anymore. But in doing so, we've kind of found ways to embrace it. So I brought in some local artisans, again, more collected things, this beautiful vase from Lawson and Fenning, gorgeous shell fossil that a friend gifted me for my birthday years ago that kind of doubles as like a little ring dish for us. And then one of my favorite things, speaking of quirks, is this zine that I picked up at the Marfa book sale last year. It's called Under Over, and it's actually a collection of toilet paper holders. So they're all created by artisans and just really unique little things. And I just thought kind of a fun bathroom read if you need it. This painting here, it's another Kitty original. I had some leftover pieces from a prop styling job that I hit my return limit. And framing's expensive, and I thought, how can I kind of utilize this canvas? And I really was in need of a piece of art for this space. So I just kind of went online, took some inspiration, looked at pieces in my art books, things like that, grabbed out my art collection, my paint collection, and whipped this up. Just, took 5 minutes, a little bit more, but it's great, and it's waterproof, so it's really nice in like a high moisture area to use acrylic or oil, things like that aren't going to peel or be damaged by the moisture of your shower or bath. The thing that I think makes our home come alive is all the little collections that we've accumulated over the years. We have a lot of things that are of sentimental value to us, whether it's been handed down from a family member or just pieces we've collected on memorable trips together. We do a lot of little like road trips within California. Always kind of, for me, it's the journey, not the destination. So we're always looking up little places we can pop off to. And doing that, you know, not only creates memories, but I usually find some sort of little tchotchke to bring home to add to my bookshelf or my prop collection or give as a gift even. So it's kind of an ever evolving treasure trove in here. And I think I keep seeing the saying, like, if people aren't lined up at your estate sale, then what did your life even mean? Welcome to our home studio. This is a bit of a shared space for my husband and I, much to his disappointment, but we have his musician set up over here. He is a touring musician. He writes his own music, has his own project. And so a lot of his recording and you know, the beginning of everything starts here for him. So we've kept it organized, we've kept it inspiring, try to keep it clean and just creative for him. He's coming in here random times of the day when he is feeling like something's bubbling up. So this has been a really good place for him to get all of those things onto paper or recorded. He's got all his equipment over here, his pedals, which are made of new vintage. He's got 60s vintage guitars in here, which are his prized possessions. My personal favorite is the Guild over in this corner here. It's what I remember him first playing when we first met, and I was going to all his shows trying to show off. So that's my personal favorite, and it gets to be by all my things. The other half of our room here is actually my prop and interior design studio. So this is kind of where I keep all my little extra collections, things that are not part of like my personal stuff that's out and about in the apartment, but things I want to hold on to in case they're needed for a set design or to be sold to a client. So back on that IKEA, but you know, the semi-custom, we added some really cool wood handles on to the piece to just kind of, again, elevate it, get it looking a little bit different than everything we're seeing on the showroom floor, if you will. But these are incredible storage pieces for me, and this is welcome to my favorite shelf, basically. This is my favorite shelf. All my favorite things are in here. I just got these incredible glasses at a resale shop. I got the whole set, and they're actually all hand blown. So it's really cool because they have that area on the bottom where you can see where they were kind of cut from that hand blown pipe. So this room is very inspirational for both of us. My husband will lay in here, play the guitar, just kind of riff on something for a while. It's where I like to come in and kind of sit down and go through my inspiration, the different things that I've collected to kind of think about how I'm going to attack a job with a client, whether it be prop styling or interior design. So I do keep current projects kind of going in here. It's easy for us to close the door because the cat pulls all my samples off the sample board. So this is also problem solving for me. But it's a really nice way and place for us to keep like projects open. So whether it's music or it's design jobs, we we can kind of close the door on things, but leave it out and then come back in when we're ready. In this particular room, we actually do share a wall with our neighbor. So in an effort to be conscious about the noise that's happening in here, whether it be drum samples, recording vocals in the closet, or just, exchanging playlists, and mine is usually better. We wanted a little extra privacy. So we actually did another cool thing in here where we hung a track along the ceiling, and then we added some heavy canvas curtains, and there's actually some soundproof panels in the wall behind it. So the wall looks a little janky when it's not covered. So this was another way for us to sort of give that elevation, keep it really calm and inspiring in here, but still offer privacy to ourselves and some respite from the beats to our neighbor. Home for me is a comfortable place. I have always been an advocate for making your house a home, no matter what point at life you're in, whether it's like your childhood bedroom, your dorm room, your shared apartment with 12 other friends. The biggest joke in our house is that my husband was sleeping on an air mattress for a year in his apartment, and when we got married and moved in together, he was just like so stoked to have an actual bed, and he really realized the importance of being able to come home to a space where you feel comfortable. And I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, in our day-to-day. We have bad days, we have good days. It's just so nice to be able to come back here and feel like it's ours. And we're ready to leave a 2-bedroom apartment behind for a bigger house and a garage and some lawn and 2 sheep running through the yard. But at the same time, this place is so important, and every time we leave, we're so excited to come back here. Homeworthy, it was so nice having you in my space, showing you around, but I've got to go make dinner, so see you later.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.